Okay, so want to be a stock trader, huh? Well, you're in the right place. We're doing a deep dive on what it takes to break into this career and crush those interviews.
We're talking high stakes, big rewards, and using all the tools out there like RoleCatcher's AI to get ahead.
Exactly. No more generic advice today. It's all about getting you ready for success. But before we get you in that interview hot seat, let's talk about what a stock trader actually does day to day.
Yeah, it's more than just staring at screens all day. You're not just pushing buttons.
Right. There's got to be like some actual strategy involved, right?
Totally. A good stock trader, you're a strategic thinker, an advisor, you're like a financial detective.
We like that.
You're out there analyzing market trends, all that data, but also keeping up with global events because it all ties in.
Okay, so it's analytical, strategic. Sounds kind of stressful if you ask me.
Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, I'll tell you that.
Uh,
RoleCatcher's Career Guide talks about that. The high earning potential, it's there, but those long hours, constant pressure, and you got to be glued to the news, always in the know.
Not for everyone, that's for sure. But hey, if you're up for the challenge, we're going to get you prepped. So let's unpack some of the most common interview questions out there, and we're pulling these straight from RoleCatcher's database.
They've analyzed tons of interviews to find the questions that really matter, and we're going to break them down.
Love it. All right, hit me with that first question.
Imagine you're sitting across from the hiring manager and they ask, what inspired you to pursue a career as a stock trader? Sounds simple, but they're looking for your passion.
Okay, so no pressure, but this is your chance to show you're not just chasing a big paycheck. What do they want to see?
They want to see you, the real you. Authenticity. The guide gives a sample response, but it's up to you to make it your own. What got you hooked on the market? Family connection, a book you read, maybe just a fascination with how it all works. Think about it. Tell your story.
Make them feel that excitement. Okay, now what about how do you stay up to date with market trends and news?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to have their favorite websites and stuff.
It's not just about what you read, it's how you use it. RoleCatcher's Guide calls this active learning. You're not just taking in info, you're analyzing it, making it work for you.
Show them you're not just scrolling through headlines.
Exactly. Explain your process. How do you filter out the noise and find the important stuff? What tools or strategies work for you?
I'm curious, what are some of the things you do? Any unusual sources or strategies you've used to get an edge?
Oh man, that's a great question. And that's how you turn a regular question into a chance to stand out. One thing I've found really helpful is, honestly, building a network, talking to people. Sometimes that's more valuable than any headline or chart.
It's about those human insights, right? Can't get that from an algorithm.
Exactly. All right, should we move on?
Yeah, let's keep rolling. What's next?
Okay, so let's talk risk management because that's huge.
Mhm.
They want to know you're not going to gamble away their millions,
All right.
right?
So how do you answer that? Like, what are some specific things you can talk about?
Think diversification, not putting all your eggs in one basket. You can mention things like stop loss orders, so if a stock tanks, you automatically sell at a certain point. Hedging strategies, too. It's all about showing you've got a system, a plan, and you're not just chasing those quick wins.
About being strategic, being disciplined even when the market's going crazy.
Exactly. You got to stay calm under pressure. Speaking of which, have you ever had like a close call with a risky trade? Something you learned from?
Oh, I'm sure everyone in this field has at least one story like that.
Right. One time early in my career, I was so sure about this one trade, and well, it did not go as planned.
Ooh, I feel that. So what happened? What'd you learn?
Taught me the importance of trusting my gut, but also not letting emotions cloud my judgment. It's a balance.
So important. Okay, so you've survived some risky trades, learned some tough lessons.
Right.
What about proving you can handle the day-to-day stress? Because let's face it, the market can be a roller coaster.
Oh, yeah. RoleCatcher's Guide actually had some good tips for that. Things like taking breaks, practicing mindfulness, even just making sure you've got a life outside of work.
That work-life balance can be tough, though, especially in a fast-paced field like this.
You're telling me. But it's about finding what works for you, right?
Totally. So they ask you about stress. You got to have some strategies ready. Don't just say, I work well under pressure. Give them something concrete, something you actually do.
Right, like I make sure to take 10 minutes every afternoon to just breathe, clear my head, or talk about how exercise helps you stay focused.
Love it. Okay, what about those curveball questions? They're going to want to go deep on your process at some point, right?
Absolutely. Be ready for a question like, how do you evaluate potential investments?
Yeah.
That's where you really show them what you're made of.
Prove you're not just throwing darts at a board, right?
Yes, exactly. They want to know, are you all about that fundamental analysis, digging into company financials, Or are you more into the technical stuff, looking for patterns in the charts? Maybe it's a combo.
Big disclaimer here, folks. We are not giving financial advice, just showing you the different ways a stock trader might think.
Right. Always consult a professional, all that good stuff. But yeah, back to the interview. You got to be able to articulate your process.
And then there's that question about emotions, right?
Yeah.
How do you keep them in check when you're making those big decisions?
Oh, yeah, because we're all human. Even the most seasoned trader feels it, the fear, the excitement. It's about how you manage it.
So it's like you've got to have those rules, those boundaries, even when the market feels like it's going haywire.
Exactly. And if you can think of a time when you almost made a bad trade, but you stayed calm, followed your process, tell that story. It shows you've learned from experience.
Speaking of learning, RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you figure out what skills are most important to each employer, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's say a company is all about teamwork. Collaboration RoleCatcher will pick up on that and suggest you highlight those kinds of experiences.
Like having a secret weapon to decode what they're really looking for.
Right. It's like having a personalized cheat sheet for each interview.
Okay, I like it. Back to the questions. What else should we be prepared for?
They're probably going to ask about how you adjust your strategy based on the market. Because let's be real, it's always changing, right?
About as predictable as the weather, some might say.
This question is all about showing them you can adapt. You're not married to just one way of doing things.
Okay, so how do you prove that? You're not just stuck in your ways.
Talk about market cycles, how your approach might be different in a bull market versus a bear market. Or if there's a lot of volatility, maybe you're more cautious.
Makes sense. Got to adjust to the environment. Now, here's one that often trips people up, because it's not just about numbers and charts, it's about people. How do you build relationships with clients?
Oh, that's a good one. You got to remember, communication is key.
But they're not salespeople, right?
True. But you still got to explain complex financial stuff in a way that makes sense and build trust with those clients.
So how do you show them you can handle that side of things?
Talk about times you've had to simplify complex information. Maybe you mentored someone or explained something technical to a friend. It's all connected.
So it's about building rapport, listening, really understanding what the client needs.
Yeah. You want them to feel heard, understood, especially when it comes to something as important as their finances.
This feels like another area where RoleCatcher's AI could be super helpful, right?
Totally. They analyze those job descriptions so they can tell you if a company really values those people skills or if they're more focused on someone who's super independent.
So you know how to tailor your answers. Okay, we've covered a ton of interview prep here, but before we wrap things up, let's zoom out for a sec. We've talked about nailing the interview, but what about life after you land the job? What does career progression really look like for a stock trader?
Yeah, it's not all champagne and yachts from day one. RoleCatcher's career guide actually breaks down those typical stages you go through.
So no handing you the keys to the kingdom right away.
Not quite. You're usually starting out assisting the more experienced traders, learning the ropes, making those trades, building up your track record.
Got to learn from the best. So what's after that initial phase? What's the next step up?
Once you've got some experience under your belt, you might move into a junior trader role, more responsibility, maybe even managing some smaller portfolios. It's your chance to shine, show them what you've got.
Okay, so you're climbing the ladder, gaining more and more responsibility as you go. But it's not just about putting in the time, right? You got to keep learning too.
Absolutely. The guide talks about those certifications like the CFA or FRM. Those can really boost your credibility, show everyone you're serious about this.
Those are the big leagues, right?
Right.
Globally recognized and all that.
Exactly. And beyond the qualifications, networking is huge in this field. Going to those industry events, joining organizations, that's how you meet the people who can open doors for you.
It's who you know, right?
It helps. And don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Build up a portfolio of your best trades, write some articles, maybe even present at a conference if you're feeling bold.
Love that. Create your own opportunities. So we've covered a lot of ground here today, from those nitty-gritty interview questions to the bigger picture of what a career in stock trading can look like.
It's challenging, no doubt, but the rewards can be huge for the right person.
And with the right tools and resources like what RoleCatcher offers, you can navigate this world and find success. Before we wrap up, I just want to say a huge thank you to RoleCatcher for these incredible insights.
Yeah, they've got everything on their platform, from interview prep to career guidance, that employer database. It's amazing.
It's like having a one-stop shop for your entire career journey.
Exactly. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to level up, they've got you covered.
Well, that's it for today's deep dive, folks. We hope you feel inspired, prepared, and ready to tackle the exciting world of stock trading.
Go, Gam.
And if you land that dream job, you know where to find us. Until next time.